Hello, my name is Thomas Mick. I'm the author of the blog commonsense2me.com. You can also get to that blog by typing in publius87.wordpress.com. That's PUBLIUS 87.wordpress.com. Okay. That said, this is a video on where I recite my article, Subversion, Extortion, and Bribery, a Means to an End. I wrote this article to express my opinion, my relatively informed opinion on why perfectly principled and respectful and honorable people go to Congress, get elected to Congress, and within 6 months they're clones of the establishment and following lockstep behind the globalist leadership in our government. I don't believe they're all necessarily bad people. I do, however, believe that there is a force at work behind the scenes in our government that coerces and causes undue stress and strain and extorts people in order to get its way. And with unlimited resources at its disposal, it is able to do so. And I believe that seeing what has happened to so many people that go to Washington in so little time, I believe it's self-evident to anybody paying attention that something's going on other than what you might think. Without further ado, here is Subversion, Extortion, and Bribery, a Means to an End. Through many years of watching otherwise honorable people violate the principles of the Republic and the oath they swore upon entering office, state or federal, I was puzzled as to why. One of the reasons people have such a hard time believing the extent of the usurpation and treason in our government is because of its enormity. I can't tell you how many times people have asked me how so many people could be in on it without someone standing up and raising the alarm. The answer is love. Everyone has someone they care for deeply, someone they would do anything for or risk everything to save. Your wife, children, husband, extended family members, lover, and friend. In some cases, even the lives of others you don't even know. We are all part of the same family, the human family, and our enemies know human nature all too well. The globalists have been exploiting that knowledge for ages, drawing us away from our Creator and wreaking havoc in our world. Doesn't it make sense that their followers do so as well? What would you do if someone told you to do something, or someone you hold dear will meet with an unfortunate accident, lose their job, be denied an important loan, or not permitted to have a life-saving procedure? What if the person telling you to do so was considered above the law? Men like Baron de Rothschild, David Rockefeller, or some other ultra-rich individual that seems untouchable. They possess the means to raise and support their own private armies, and do so through corporations formed for that purpose. They have people to take care of their dirty work without ever having to worry about the finger getting pointed at them. Money buys a lot of loyalty from those who worship it. What if every member of Congress, upon getting elected, was invited to a meeting with a representative for such a person and delivered an ultimatum? Would you have the courage and ability to risk such loss? Would you reject such an ultimatum knowing that doing so would result in the death of either yourself or your entire family? In my opinion, only believing Christians or Jews whose belief in future rewards and punishments after this life even have a chance to remain faithful under these circumstances, because we all must face God one day and give account. What if the leadership of the House or Senate meets with you and tells you straight up that if you don't play ball and do as you're told, you'll never see success in office? Your bills will languish, your constituents will receive little or no consideration, and your chances for re-election will be nil. It takes a truly dedicated person to resist such pressure and remain faithful to their oath and duty. Remember that their primary responsibility under the oath is to the Constitution, not the clamoring of the majority. On the other hand, what if you're offered wealth, prestige, or a huge lift up the corporate ladder upon your lucrative retirement from office, set up for life, and all you have to do is cooperate and do as you're told? Could you resist such an offer? Suppose that offer was extended to include your children or another person you loved. Could you maintain your integrity under such promises? The war we're waging is against human beings who have no pity, remorse, or scruples when it comes to achieving their objectives. If they've determined they must reduce the world's population to, say, less than 500 million, you can be damn sure they have a plan to achieve it. These people are capable of anything when pursuing their goals, and those goals are nothing short of total and complete control over your lives. Their families have been looting mankind for hundreds of years, accumulated vast resources as a result, so money is no object for them, merely a means to an end. Our greatest weapon against the globalist armor is righteousness. People of integrity who cannot be bought and recognize the sovereignty of God over their lives as well as their loved ones, knowing that regardless what happens here, we will see them again on the other side. Those of us who desire to be in the will of God more than accumulating the things of this world and are willing to serve Him regardless of the circumstances, such people cannot be bought, threatened, or coerced to betray God. For in so doing, we betray ourselves. It is my firm belief that those who love God and seek His truth will also love the truth and embrace it, use it, fight for it, and live by it. The Constitution is the supreme law of the land. It is the law that defines not only the structure of the federal government of the United States of America, but also its limitations. The Constitution was debated, drafted, and ratified by the several states, which are its masters, and any change to the Constitution must be done through their assent as defined in Article 5, which is markedly lacking the word treaty. Every officer, both state and federal, is required upon entering office to swear an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the states wherein they are an inhabitant. Once they've taken that oath, their opinion in official matters that is contrary to the Constitution is irrelevant. Their duty is to perform their duties in compliance with the Constitution. To do so otherwise would run counter to the law. If an officer does not agree with the Constitution, he shouldn't serve under it or take the oath to support it. In our Declaration of Independence, it is recognized that our rights were given to us by our Creator at birth, preceding man's government. That is why you will find no language in the Constitution or Bill of Rights where rights are granted to anyone. The Bill of Rights merely imposed firm limitations on the government's ability to restrict or infringe upon our pre-existing rights through legislative or judicial action. Those not specified are covered in Article 9 of the Bill of Rights. Actually, that's not Article. I'd have to look that up. But the 9th Amendment. I may have to edit my article. Anyway, and it quotes it. The enumeration of the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage other rights retained by the people. We need to be a people who put the truth and righteousness above everything else if we're to defeat this enemy. End of article. And while I'm thinking about it, as you can tell, while I don't flaunt my beliefs, I am not an evangelist, and so I'm not going to try to proselytize everybody to believe the way I believe. Quite frankly, I don't believe in that. I believe that some people have the gift of evangelism, and that's what God's leaning on their life is, and I believe they should be faithful to that calling. God gave me a totally different mission, one that's largely been rejected by most of the other Christians that I know throughout my life. But I do know that the Lord set me on this path. I'm not anyone's judges, and I don't believe that any Christian that is elected to office should behave as if they are. They must recognize the fact that the whole world is not Christian, and that it is up to the individual, through free will, to choose whether to be a believer or not. The important matter for a Christian in office is that everyone have the liberty to freely discuss their beliefs peacefully. And then perhaps, as the Spirit of God moves, people will come to the truth. But I can say this one thing that's very true, and I've seen this in my life, all my life, is that if you are not living the life, and if your life is not an epistle to what you say, you won't win many people in your direction. As this article points out, there is a force at work in our lives that has gotten control of our government through our money, a force that was working against the Republic from the very beginning and even before. Much of the American Revolution was fought over economic issues, and banking is part of it. The international banks, particularly the banks of Rothschild, Chase Manhattan Bank, and other banks who have controlling interest in the Federal Reserve, are our enemy. They have brought us to this point. They are collapsing our economy through our money, deliberately, because their end goal is nothing short of world government. We need to restore righteousness in our government offices, because our Constitution didn't authorize any of this. It's all being done through corporations and through the power of money, not the power of law. It has corrupted our systems of government to the point where now the American people are servants of the globalist masters. If we're to regain our liberties, we must stand up, which is why I wrote a plan of action, which is another video in my channel that I highly encourage everyone to listen to. Or you can go on my blog at commonsensetome.com and read that article for yourself. With that, I wish you all a wonderful day or evening or wherever you are. God restore the Republic of the United States of America.